Welcome to Double Standards with me, Afshin Rattansi. Well, here there's been a whitewash about journalism with the Leveson inquiry. Meanwhile, a Saudi diplomat shot dead in Yemen, Kuwait's Emir in London seeking help from the UK government, and Bahrain shrouded in tear gas. As hundreds are injured in Tunisia and tens of thousands gather in Cairo's Liberation Square, what happened to the Arab awakening? This week, we'll investigate post-revolutionary Egypt. Coming up in the show, Obama blames technology for unemployment in America. I go to dinner with the Emir of Kuwait and the Queen of England. And as the demonstrations continue in Cairo, we investigate post-revolution Egypt with the British conservative Arab network's Wafik Moustafa. Let's start by going straight to the NBC News Network, live from New York, for horrendous news just coming in.
We're just now learning about a crazy plan to blow up the moon.
What's that? I know this will be an American plan, but surely this isn't just to impress the Russians because they're worried about how close Moscow has got to Beijing. How are they going to do it?
With a nuclear weapon to impress the Russians.
Hackers have made fools of Britain's MI5 and MI6 again. They've hacked into the website they used to hire secret agents. In the advert, the UK government seems to want something called a target elimination specialist, or assassin, who likes martinis shaken not stirred. The advert went on to say that candidates for the MI6 post should be willing to remove people on behalf of the government and would be equipped with special watches, jetpacks and mini-submarines, but not presumably a machine secure enough to stop the hackers posting fake advertisements. With this week's so-called Greek bailout, the British Prime Minister David Cameron has been thinking about how to get Britain out of the economic mess it's in. He's decided that the only solution is war, but it has to start as soon as possible and without any delay. Why?
The costs of delay are felt in businesses going bust, jobs being lost, livelihoods being destroyed. When this country was at war in the 1940s, Whitehall underwent a revolution. Normal rules were circumvented. Convention was thrown out. As one historian put it, everything was thrown at the overriding purpose of beating Hitler. We need to throw everything we've got at winning in this global race.
His rival in the government, Boris Johnson, the Mayor of London, meanwhile, was out in India being mistaken for the King of England and Boris Becker. Worried about the Arab Spring, the King of Morocco has decided to sell off Casablanca's piano. It's expected to fetch more than $1 million at next month's sale, according to Sotheby's in New York. But analysts say it's not enough to buy off the Moroccan public. One previous owner of the piano is not happy at all. Rupert Murdoch and statutory regulation may have been under the spotlight at this week's UK Leveson judgment, but it was the BBC that was being investigated by the British Parliament on Tuesday, not for its biased pro-Israel reporting on Gaza, but why it was paying off its Director General after the BBC paedophile problem. Regulator Lord Chris Patten refused to answer a question about what he did for his $250,000 three-day week. One MP wasn't happy.
Why not?
Because I think it's a thoroughly impertinent question. You're kidding yourself.
Well,
I mean, what is the role of it? Do you want to know my toilet habits? What else do you want to know?
Goldman Sachs' Mark Carney has been appointed the next governor of the Bank of England. The Canadian is seen here unpacking the gold bars he's already robbed from the Bank of Canada's vaults before taking them to his Goldman Sachs trading account in Switzerland. Who knows what he'll do when he runs the Bank of England? Just a few months ago, Carney's number 2 at the Financial Stability Board in Switzerland resigned after strange currency trades carried out by his wife were leaked to the press. Well, President Obama seems to be keeping the same economic policies as in his first term, along with all the Goldman Sachs former employees. More than 46 million Americans need government food stamps just to eat. But Obama doesn't blame bankers or free market economics for unemployment. He blames technology.
A lot of businesses have learned to become much more efficient with a lot fewer workers. See it when you go to a bank and you use an ATM. You don't go to a bank teller.
Good morning, Mr. Jones.
Or you go to the airport.
Would you like another transaction?
No. Plastic bags, please.
The $3 service fee will apply. Do you accept the fee?
I'll have the pan-roasted chicken with the wild morel mushrooms, please.
I'm sorry, you do not have sufficient funds to complete this
What do
transaction.
you mean insufficient funds?
President Obama was a job creator from day one.
Oops.
The mainstream news journalists may have left Gaza to applaud the Leveson whitewash here in Britain, but the Gaza siege continues. As for Israel's defense or war minister, Ehud Barak, he says again that he's quitting politics. He joins me now. Hello, war criminal. London calling.
So, of course, Iran in the background.
No, of course it's not Iran in the background. It's London in the background, just like it's London in the background where you are. How did they let you in this country? Who did you come with?
A terrorist group.
Which terrorist group? And where is Israel involved in terrorism at the moment?
In Lebanon, in Syria, of course.
Is it true that you're in talks with the British government about a new Anglo-Zionist initiative to train British soldiers how to torture?
That's a lot of things to talk about, and in fact, we are here also to thank the British government for taking the initiative.
Israelis gambled and lost on their latest atrocities in Gaza, but you are here to gamble in London's casinos, I understand. You want to play cards with rich Arab dictators. Will they judge you kosher?
I expect all players to pass a judgment.
Any Qataris sit at the gambling tables? Are you hopeful for co-producing TV shows with Qatar's TV channels about, say, the war in Syria?
We are always hopeful.
The direction of public opinion is against you. Is that why you've resigned? I've got a rope here for your neck. What do you think most people around the world would like me to do if I tightened it around your neck?
Tightened even more, as the direction seems to be.
Do you expect the rest of the world to support Zionist barbarity forever?
That's the explicit commitment of the rest of the world.
No, it's not. The majority of the world don't support Zionism. You're in violation of loads of UN resolutions. How do you hope to control people and get your message out to them?
We would love to have it through TV conversations.
To stop people understanding what is going on, Israel is now building prison camps. Who are they for?
For TV commentators, for philosophers or historians.
You're going to lock up everyone who disagrees with you. After Operation Pillar of Cloud in Gaza, what do you have to say about Zionism in the Middle East?
The game is over. Let's give up.
Thank you. I think that man standing up there is the accused. The British government has been defeated a few times in the House of Lords, trying to create secret courts like this one as part of the post-Leveson legal system. But now they believe they've won. Come on, are you happy with the government's Leveson report, Justice and Security Bill, all this stuff which has mandated this secret court?
No.
Don't look at any notebooks. They have all the evidence against you and you're not allowed to look at them.
Why, the very notebook of the examining magistrate confirms what I say. These are the examining magistrate's records.
He's not supposed to say that. You see, David Cameron wants to bring in courts where the accused and jury never see all the evidence. This terrorist doesn't seem to like it very much.
What's happening to me is of no great importance, but I think it is representative of what's happening to a great many other people as well.
Come on, you're a Muslim. Admit it. You've been arrested.
And perhaps, considering the magistrate's opening statement, perhaps they had orders to arrest some housebreaker who may well be as innocent as I am.
What? This is David Cameron's secret court. You're not allowed to speak. Did you ask any questions when you were arrested?
I asked them very simply why I was arrested.
Because the British government doesn't like you? Why were you arrested?
Gentlemen, he answered in effect nothing at all. He had arrested me. That was enough.
Hooray for the Leveson whitewash and the new British secret court system. Now anyone can be arrested and put in prison forever without trial. Justice at last. Now I've got to go and have dinner with the Queen of England, who's entertaining an Arab visitor at Windsor Castle.
The United Kingdom pays tribute to your country's leading contribution to the promotion of a vibrant democracy and applauds your efforts to guide Kuwait to a future.
That's the King of Kuwait. That's the Queen of England. What are you doing here? Are you avoiding fake parliamentary elections back home today, or you're just avoiding Kim Kardashian as well as the tear gas against pro-democracy protesters in Kuwait? I'm not going to have dinner with these people. Someone who spends his fair share of time in Tinseltown is David Mulholland. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, Afshin. How are you?
I could be better. Let's start with this Disney Walmart factory in Bangladesh. What is it with US corporations and all the deaths you're causing in the developing world? I presume that's all the things on the left-hand side of this cartoon.
No, this is about the Rorschach test. And this is a psychiatrist showing this to the Republicans. And he's going, that's Benghazi, with all the different Rorschach ink blots. Going, Benghazi, that's Benghazi. Let's see, Benghazi, Benghazi. What else could it be but Benghazi? Benghazi, oh, duh, that's Benghazi. Benghazi, another Benghazi.
We get the idea. What are you on about?
Yeah, no, what's happening is the Republicans are going absolutely nuts about Benghazi. And they're just keeping, oh, this is a scandal, this is a scandal. Let's face it, the Republicans kept going, WMD, 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 WMD. And in fact, John McCain, who ran for presidency against Obama, was saying, well, this clearly shows that
Susan Rice lied.
That Susan Rice lied, and she isn't qualified for the job. He was the guy who chose Sarah Palin as his running mate.
Even a stop clock tells the time sometimes. I thought it was a new kind of matter. Large Hadron Collider discovered that this week. But let's go first of all to this National Transit tribute to Rosa Parks' Day, and of course Rosa Parks on that bus. Now Americans use a different type of transport to kill people.
Well, it's not transport. And here you have a Pakistani general saying, we want drones. We want to get our hands on drones. And there's Uncle Sam saying, if you want drones, why don't you try a cable news channel with Fox and Friends, with Karl Rove and Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity, which are sort of Republican apparatchiks in the U.S.
Because you need one of those before the drones.
What's happening, despite all of the outcry about drone attacks, especially in Pakistan, what Pakistan is going, no, that's terrible, it's terrible. Can we have some?
Well, we're not going to get democracy now here or anything, because the Leveson inquiry was a complete whitewash here in Britain. Let's go to Egypt, though.
Well, yes, I think the Leveson inquiry was a whole lot like what's happened in Egypt with Morsi. And as you can see in this cartoon, you have Morsi saying, think of it as protective custody. And you have the democracy movement in prison, a woman dressed in behind bars.
That's a really harsh thing to say. He's only been in since May. They've had 5 millennia of dictatorship.
Let's go to this next cartoon. Basically, you have people from the World Bank saying, we of the World Bank have released a report stating climate change is real and will have dire consequences. And here you have this guy wearing this climate change is a hoax t-shirt saying, well, what do you expect from a bunch of radical tree-hugging extremists like bankers?
You're obsessed by the Qatar Doha Conference on Climate Change. No one cares about it.
It is very, very important. What the World Bank has said is they've come out with a report saying that if policies don't change, the climate's going to change 3 to 4 degrees. And a group of investors have come out that manage $22.5 trillion in assets have said if we don't change this, it's going to be catastrophic.
Bankers in green money, that's what I think. Anyway, today is International AIDS Day, and the pharmaceutical companies made a packet off that virus, I think. So perhaps they want to make money off your green nonsense.
Of green nonsense?
Well, maybe the bankers want to make loads of money out of that. Anyway, Dallas, a terrible thing, that great anti-capitalist drama. Larry Hagman died, and the memorial is in Los Angeles, I think, tomorrow on Sunday, this weekend.
Well, yes, and which is really I mean, he was a great actor.
You have a connection to Dallas.
I think I do. Yeah, my family worked on Dallas. But it's one of the things about global warming. We've got to look at the good sides of global warming. I mean, think about it. Who wouldn't want to go to a beach resort in Switzerland?
You're off to The Only Way is Essex?
No, I'm off to Leicester Square tonight.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
Thank you.
The Arab world continues to be in turmoil, but nowhere symbolizes that turmoil more, perhaps, than the tens of thousands that gathered in Cairo's Liberation Square this week to protest against a government that was elected by the Egyptian people only in May, after the first election there in more than 5 millennia. Wafik Moustafa, welcome back. You're from the Conservative Arab Network. What's your take on the troubles in Egypt?
Egypt in deep trouble. Particularly with the government of Morsi. The one thing which I feel proud actually of, the spirit of the Egyptian people. They are not going to take another pharaoh. And that's what Morsi has been trying last couple of weeks to be.
You can't blame Morsi that quickly. I mean, a country that old, he was only elected in May, and you're already coming down that hard on him.
It looks like from the outset like that, but if you look at the Middle East, you can be dictator within days and weeks because dictatorship doesn't take a long time to develop. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's repeating other stories which happen in Egypt and the Middle East, consolidating his power, co-opting certain people from Muslim Brotherhood to take over the key positions in the Egyptian government.
So you'd be out there in Liberation Square demonstrating, because some people might say this is a strange bunch, tens of thousands, albeit in a country of 83 million or whatever, of Trotskyites and Salafists all in one square together in some embrace against Morsi. But you're saying no, there is a right to be against Morsi right now.
I think so. The people have spoke.
Well, they spoke and voted him in.
Well, they did. Yes, that's true. There was a lot of manipulation, but nonetheless, they did vote him in. But the President Morsi, as you could see, he was alienating the judiciary. He have sacked the Solicitor General of Egypt. He was about to sack several senior judges. He
might have sacked them now, for all we know, because it is quite quickly moving, this story.
Quickly moving, and that was his intention. He has marginalized the SCAF, which nobody objected to it. I think the judiciary was the biggest test for him when he started to co-opt judiciary, and it has stood up to him. Judiciary is known in Egypt to be, I would say, with high degree of independence.
Independence? Under
yes.
Mubarak?
I would say, I'll tell you why. I know it might look strange, but do you know many of Muslim Brotherhood members, including Morsi himself and others, have been to prison and been acquitted by these judges. So there is some dependence. That's why I said with a degree, because I know it's not absolute.
After the torture.
After the torture, maybe, and after, but nonetheless, there was. It's not like Iraq or other countries in the Middle East or Libya.
As one of the most prominent members of the Arab community here in Britain, who has ties to the governing party here in Britain, surely a person like Morsi was going to create enemies in all these different elements of civic life. So aren't you being a bit harsh? He did get the IMF loan. Doesn't look like Christine Lagarde has any problems with Mohamed Morsi.
Everybody not looking for loans, everybody looking for development, for stability, for security inside Egypt. Getting loans and donors to give Egypt money, that's not going to make the country survive for long if you don't have a good infrastructure. And what the Muslim Brotherhood and his
They're
government...
famous for infrastructure. A lot of people say the Muslim Brotherhood was voted in because of its brilliance at efficient infrastructure right across different parts of Egypt.
I would say they are well established as organization, grassroots organization, but they have no experience in government. It's okay to be able to distribute blanket and odd clinics here and there, and I'm a doctor myself, as you know. But I think
surely you'd give it a good review when it came to local medical infrastructure all through the appalling years of Mubarak?
I would rather to have a comprehensive health system rather than politically motivated groups of helping villages here and there.
You don't think Morsi wouldn't agree with you on that? That's what he says he's trying to do.
I hope he does, but I think his children may go to private schools, and he himself got a very high income from working in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf.
The Persian Gulf kingdoms are eyeing him very cautiously. The Gaza conflict, of course, was a great test for him. So I come back to this. Are you not being too harsh too quickly?
It's not harsh as such because he is very inconsistent. What he used to say before being elected as a president, he was, for example, was very anti-Israeli, anti-Jewish, even pro-Iran, and suddenly he changed it a bit during the Gaza conflict.
Well, during Syria, the Syria conflict.
And he's a Syrian. So I don't know what exactly his vision for the future.
But isn't that what the great foreign policy people, Talleyrand, Bismarck, the greatest people on their eye on the ball? He's in with Washington, he's in with Tehran,
well, I think
he's in with Riyadh.
Well, it's like someone who doesn't speak, you think he's very intelligent. It's not necessarily. Remember how he is positioned in the Muslim Brotherhood. He positioned in the right part of the spectrum of Muslim Brotherhood. So he's really near to the Salafi side. And almost Salafi.
But the Salafists are demonstrating against him in Liberation Square.
Yeah, because they are extreme right-wing.
But bizarrely, you're on the same side against President Morsi.
Well, that is politics. You sometimes find people agree with you because of tactical alliances.
And finally, do you think President Morsi is going to survive?
I don't think he will survive for the next few weeks because the public mood is against him and the revolution has not finished.
You're coming back in the new year then to explain yourself either way, depending on what happens. Thank you very much, Wafik Moustafa, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Afshin.
Now it's time for People of Britain. Let's go to our roaming reporter. Time for our special section, People of Britain. Over to you, Leicester Square, who I understand is outside Rupert Murdoch's printing plant, covering the fallout of the Leveson judgment. Leicester Square here, Afshin. Yes, very odd times for the British press. The Leveson inquiry came out this week, and Hugh Grant to edit all British newspapers. That's the decision of Lord Leveson. Anyway, strange times for the people of Britain. Now it's time for People of Britain. Private water companies say people should pay more for water because the water is coming from the sky more in Britain. Important?
Yes.
A good argument for higher water charges?
I think there's probably a case for long-term investment to stop this happening again in the future, certainly.
And they're saying that people wanted more water and they have paid for the infrastructure for it to rain more.
Well, clearly the current infrastructure doesn't cope.
But it is raining more.
I agree with you, but it's probably a transient effect.
The Leveson inquiry says that Hugh Grant should edit all national newspapers. A good decision by Lord Justice Leveson?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Do you really think that he would be appropriate for it?
Well, he'd stop the hacking, surely.
Well...
Private water companies say that you should pay more for your water rates because it's raining so much and so you can use more water. Fair?
No, less.
But they say they've created more water from the sky and supplied it more.
They haven't created it. That's a joke, really.
Paris Hilton is opening a handbag shop in Saudi Arabia. Do you think it's important to look good when you fly airplanes into skyscrapers?
That's high.
Yeah,
I'm joking. That's so not hot.
That's quite a cruel question.
Wow, that's a bit extreme.
Yeah, should maybe. I don't know. I mean, you're all going to be into bits anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
You might as well do it in style if you're going to do it anyway, because like,
if you want to,
she's going to do it. You fly
a skyscraper
into a building, and then she'll be all over the news anyway. So like, she might as well be like, oh, check my new bag.
Talk about, yeah, why not? I say yes.
But will she really want to kill herself?
I hope so.
Lord Justice Leveson is doing a report today on the press. He says Hugh Grant should run every national newspaper. A good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't like him.
But then on the other hand, Hugh Grant wouldn't hack into phones.
Who hacks into phones?
Lord Leveson, I think.
Oh, does he?
Rupert Murdoch.
Oh, so he's hacking into my phone?
Apparently. Do you think Hugh Grant would make a good editor for every single newspaper in Britain?
I think so.
Why not?
He's an actor.
Simon Cowell is very angry because a guitarist has threatened to shoot him. What sort of gun should they use?
No, I think that...
No.
I read that.
And then his fake tan will come off.
Oh my God.
I agree with that. That's very
and so all cops will just melt off his face.
No, a bazooka, yes.
But are you condoning shooting?
Not at all. A famous guitarist has said that Simon Cowell from X Factor should be shot in the head, and he's very angry about that. What sort of gun would you recommend?
AK-47? Sorry.
What sort of gun should they use?
As large one as possible. Big Bertha from the First World War.
Really? Why?
Big enough? That's a big gun.
What sort of gun should they use if they were to kill him?
Very large ones.
Paris Hilton has started a handbag store in Saudi Arabia. Do you think it's important to have the right look when you're flying aeroplanes into skyscrapers?
No, I don't think so.
Is it important to have good handbags if you're flying a plane into a skyscraper?
Very important, very.
Very important? Yeah. Hugh Grant, the actor, is going to edit all newspapers. Is that a good idea?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
There you have it, Afshin, the voices of the people of Britain. I've been looking through the newspapers post-Leveson, and this one, all it has is articles about films by Hugh Grant. Anyway, back to you in the studio. Thanks, Lester. Leveson, Hutton, they're all the same, these lords. Catch up with you and Hugh Grant later. You can email us at comment@doublestandards.tv.com. See you next week.